What is up, everybody? Davey Crocco, welcome back to the channel. Now, I wanted to do this stream as a test run to what we're going to be doing tonight, which is the Midnight Halloween special. I've told you guys about this all week. Midnight Eastern tonight, Dr. Crocco's Halloween special, and I wanted to make sure, because we haven't streamed on this channel in a while, are all the kinks out? Can we make sure everything works good? Can the chat get on the screen? I wanted to make sure the chat was orange. I wanted to make sure it looked good for everybody. I may fix the video capture with the picture under it so it doesn't look kind of weird like that. But so far, I think this looks pretty good. Fate of Kings did the background. He did the graphic. He did most of the artwork for everything. He even did the one that's under my picture. So I may change that one out with the new thumbnail and figure that out. Or just go with my beautiful, beautiful mug the whole time. Now, I don't expect a lot of views on these. We haven't been on this channel in a long time. I could have did this stream on Davey Crocco 3, Davey Crocco 2, guaranteed myself a bunch of views, all this and all that, but it doesn't matter. We just want to have a good time and hang out. But I think the Halloween special will do pretty well, hopefully. If we can get 100 people in there that just want to hang out, it'll be fun. But we do have a fun little story. Now, I'm not just going to come on and say, guys, I'm working the kinks out. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun. Nope, I found a little story, and if you've been following my channel, I mentioned this 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and then quickly in a stream the other day. And this is the story about a woman named Holly Courtier who decided to take a expedition, if you will, into Zion National Park. Now, from all accounts, from the accounts that they want us to believe, she took a shuttle bus to Zion National Park in the afternoon, early morning to the afternoon, with the requirements of being picked up by that same shuttle bus later on that day. She did not make that appointment. She did not make any contact with her family. She was missing in Zion National Park for 12 days. Miraculously, after 12 days, she was found alive. But there is a lot more to this story. I've been covering it, and then a friend of the channel, a channel I love, covered it last night, and then right after he covered it, some new information dropped, so I feel like we're going back and forth, and we're just going to get into this story, and it's just a fun little stream of a missing person, and we can just enjoy a nice little stream and make sure that the Spooky Sunday podcast is back up and running and everything and all the kinks are worked out. Microphone sound is fine. You guys tell me if anything on the screen or if anything that you see looks out of place or anything that you'd like to be changed for tonight's stream. And just, leave a comment. Let me know. Constructive criticism for tonight's show will be highly, respected. I would like to have a very, very nice show tonight. The Zion part to it, I'm really not gonna go down that road for this missing persons case. It's just Zion National Park. It's a famous park. Now, I'll let John Lorden from Brain Scratch, and if you guys don't know John Lorden Arts of Brain Scratch, Searchlight, Case Cracked, he's just all over the missing person. I mean, really good guy, just helps out a lot, donates a lot to families, and I would just highly consider subscribing to his channel. So what we're gonna do is he's gonna start off in the beginning, kind of explaining the area of where they're at, and then he gets into what she was gonna be wearing going into this thing, and then we'll take it over from there with our
National
narration.
Park. And I started tracking it at that point. I got to be honest with you guys. Those stories for me are some of the hardest. Pretty rare that we have a good outcome on stories like that. They're also tough to cover. There's not a lot of detail in terms of the disappearance or the elements around the disappearance, unless you have a lot of backstory in terms of who they are, what was going on in their life leading up to the disappearance. But so many of these kind of national park disappearances, the story is someone goes to the park and they're not seen after that. There's just not a whole lot, but I wanted to track it. We have seen some good outcomes. We're going to talk about that a little bit in today's episode as well. So in this instance, thankfully, a few days later, it seems like we had a good outcome. So at this point, we've got several articles telling the story of how a woman survived for 12 days in Utah's Zion National Park. But those stories really aren't telling you how she survived. And now someone that worked on the search efforts is saying those stories that we're hearing don't actually make sense. I'm wondering right off the bat, are there real problems in this story, or is the problem that we're hearing everything second and third hand? I figured the best thing to do would be to go through this story together with you guys so we could have a good, meaningful discussion about this in the comments below. So let's start with learning where this takes place. Zion National Park is an American national park located in southwestern Utah near the town of Springdale. A prominent feature of the 229 square mile park is Zion Canyon, which is 15 miles long and up to 2,640 feet deep. The canyon walls are reddish and tan-colored Navajo sandstone, eroded by the North Fork of the Virgin River. It's so deep that if you actually look at this area through satellite photo, which we will later, the shadows are so hard from the canyon walls, you can't actually make out all the details of the canyon floor. But it's also amazingly beautiful from what I can see. All these photos are showing how beautiful it is. I've only been to Utah for a few very brief periods. I know I did go to a national park there, but I was literally stopping through on the way. I'm not sure if it was this one, but Utah, extremely scenic. I mean, really, the mountains and the landscape out there are extremely unique and really pretty. We get another shot of it here at the entrance for Zion National Park. So now that we know where this is taking place, here is the missing person poster for Holly Suzanne Courtier. And we can see that this was put out by Zion National Park. They're saying she is 38 years old, stands at 5'3", weighs 100 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. But here we've also got some important details, and some of these details might come into the conversation when we're starting to talk about the feasibility of the story that we're hearing, and especially now that we have someone kind of calling it into question. So let's pay particular attention to possibly wearing. We've got a gray trucker hat, a Patagonia black nano puff jacket, a dark tank top, Danner Trail gray hiking boots, and an Osprey blue multi-day pack. And I just wanted to spend another moment on that in particular, taking a look at the pack, because it looks like you could probably fit a significant amount of materials there, especially if you were an experienced hiker. I think you could theoretically have numerous days worth of food, possibly water.
Now I'm playing this part because he does a good job of just getting this missing person's picture of what she went into the woods with. And if we're to believe that she was going into the woods to do a 1-day hike, would you really bring a blanket? Would you bring a puffy coat when weather in this area is about at the lowest 60 degrees at night, 50, 60 degrees. Would you bring a pack that big that would hold maybe 5 to 6 days worth of food? Would you pack this much for a 1 day trip? And what exactly is going on here? So on October 6, 2020, about 1:30, they're saying she was possibly dropped off by a private shuttle bus at the Grotto parking area within Zion National Park. There's no confirmation of that. There is no video evidence of that. And we also have evidence that her car was found there. But trust me, this gets way weirder. I'm not just going to give you a missing person case.
Maybe even other things to help take care of yourself if you're going to be out in an area for a prolonged period of time. But then there's also this other section at the bottom, items possibly with her. And here we have an open front hoodie, a Nanoloft puffy blanket, which I don't know if it's this actual one, but if it was this actual one, what a great item to try to use if you were lost somewhere and if you were thinking that they might be doing flyovers in either a helicopter or even with drone coverage. Having something this kind of unnaturally colored should really stand out. And also a camouflage double-size hammock. So for that, it kind of works against it, right? You wouldn't really want a camouflage hammock out there. If you were trying to be found in particular. So down in the notes, it says on October 6th, 2020, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Courtier was possibly dropped off.
So we have all that information of what she went into the park with on October 6th. And this is an experienced hiker. This is somebody that's been to this spot before. She went to this spot with her daughter earlier in the year, I think just in September, and she's a very religious woman, and this experience, she had just recently lost a nanny job due to COVID and cutbacks, and she just wanted to get into the outdoors, and I guess this experience for her just really opened her eyes, and she wanted to get back as soon as possible. Spur of the moment trip. Not a lot of people in the family were notified. The child, her daughter, the person closest to her, was not found or was not told about this. Her sister was not told about this. But there are way further, deeper implications as we go deeper into the story on what happens. But we'll explain the whole way through of the daughter pleading the case, the search, the eventual finding of her, and then I will save the best for last with a Millie Weaver type twist at the end. I will put it like that. So first of all, I'd like to thank 62 people for coming out. It's been 6 months since we've probably put a stream up on here, so I'm pretty happy that you guys came out to see me. I am gonna dedicate this channel to just spooky stuff. I'm not gonna go with, okay, this channel has more subscribers so I can get more money if I put it up on this. Whatever happens, happens. I'm looking at my thing right now on my streaming thing, and it says the monetization's off anyways. I thought this channel was monetized. I guess it's not anymore. Who knows? I guess they hit me on my fun, spooky channel that literally was harmless. But what can you do? I don't know if super chats are available. I don't recommend them. I know people like leaving super chats, but they take so much money from you. I don't want you wasting your money or giving your money to Google. I'd rather you not donate through super chat than donate at all. Put it that way. And never donate what you can't afford. And every channel has a different thing. If you do want to support this one, PayPal is always an option, and I think it's under streamlabs.crocoshow if you wanted to help out. But if I were you guys, I would wait for tonight's show because it's going to be a very long show with a lot of guests. I don't know some people's Twitters or if they even have Twitters. So what we're going to do is try to get the word out to as many people as possible because I'd like to take some call-ins. I tried to reach out to Irrational Times, Fate of Kings, Andy's Random Edits, Donald Netanyahu. He might come on and do a face reveal tonight. So we got some fun stuff coming, man. It's going to be a fun show on top of the Halloween history. So let's just enjoy this for what it is. Just a nice little missing person case. So moving on from there, we'll just start with the first story that I could find, and this was the first story. It came across my desk October 6th, October 7th, and it was family pleading for help to find their missing family member. They're pleading for help in finding missing mother at Zion National Park. And they say the search continues.
Seeking answers after a Southern California mother went missing 1 week ago today. Now, she was last seen at Zion National Park. ABC4's Katie Corrales reports on the ongoing search and investigation.
Gotta love their videos. Gotta love them.
Tuesday.
So it's been 1 week since this Northern California mother went missing. The search continues for 38-year-old Holly Courtier of Woodland Hills, California. Courtier was last seen on October 6th when she was dropped off, supposedly by a private shuttle bus. That's not confirmed. She was scheduled to be picked up at 4:40 via the shuttle bus at the Grotto the same day, but never returned. Deputy Chief Ranger Andrew Fitzgerald and Chief of Interpretation Amanda Rowland held a press conference late Tuesday afternoon. So they were on this immediately, and this isn't like Missing 411 where the parks don't get involved or say anything, or they just step back and it's like we don't even have a list of people. They actually got on top of this. So Rangers got involved. Rangers said Courtier was hiking the Kayenta Trail heading toward Emerald Pools around 1:30, according to a person riding the shuttle. Right now, we are committed to finding her. We are going to keep searching as long as there are clues or leads. Fitzgerald said rescuers found Courtier's vehicle in an adjacent town at the beginning of the search. She had left her cell phone in California, according to park officials. So 2 weird things off the bat. She takes a shuttle, but she also has her car in an adjacent town very close to where she could just drive to the park. And she leaves a mode of communication because in that whole list of things, she didn't have a GPS phone or whatever you would call that. What do they call those phones? A satellite phone to reach out to people. So very odd that she would leave her cell phone, even though probably wouldn't get good reception. You would still think maybe you would bring that with you. You might be able to get a text out. Just in any chance you want to have that on you. Courtier is a nature lover, experienced hiker, familiar with Zion National Park. Now, her daughter, 19-year-old Kelly Chambers, told ABCS Los Angeles KABC Courtier recently lost her job due to the COVID pandemic and bought a van to travel to national parks across the U.S. So this seems like a drastic change in the woman's life. COVID hit, and she decided, you know what? I'm going to take the money I have, I'm going to buy this van, and I'm going to go across the country and see nature. And you know what? I'm not going to hate on it. It's not what I would do, but I don't disrespect anybody for going out and saying, I'm going to go see nature, and I'm going to go see these parks that give her a spiritual experience. She said in quote, she never felt closer to God than when she was at these parks. The daughter would go on to say that her mom is one of the most selfless and loving people she knows, and she just wants her to come home. Chambers told KBC, "We're looking for you and we're going to find you. Don't give up on us." Since Cordier's travel plans at the park that day are unknown, officials are sending out 5 search and rescue teams on the ground each day with a helicopter. Teams are expected to search the east side of the park and the Narrows Tuesday. Now, if you would look at an overview of this park, it would be nearly impossible. It is so dense. There's so many crevices in this thing. I mean, it's very easy to get hurt. It's very easy to get lost. And it's very, very easy to get off track. If you get dehydrated, it's very easy to all of a sudden lose your, train of thought. A lot of things could happen. Now, Cordier has brown hair and blue eyes. She stands 5 feet 3 inches, 100 pounds. She might be wearing a trucker hat, maybe like the quartering, veteran hat, a Patagonia black nano puff jacket, a dark tank top, hiking boots, and a Blue Osprey multi-day pack. So she was going for one day, but she had a multi-day pack, which means to me, I think she was planning on staying for more than she's saying. And I think in my head, she had enough food for 12 days. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. Now, Zion National Park asked anyone with information to call the Park Service. They put out bulletins. They really did their due diligence in saying, like, listen, we are fully committed to finding this woman. Anybody that has any information, please call in. So if we move on to the next link here, and we're going to go in chronological order. There's rumors, theories, the family. It's a very weird story. Now, most people know you can go something like 7 days without water, 6-7 days without water. I think it's 30 days without food. Now, this woman went missing for 12 days in Zion National Park. Here's how her story led to an online frenzy. Now, she was last seen on October 6th in that picture that was right at the beginning. So this is the last picture of her seen masked up. St. George, Utah, 12 days of searching for a woman in one of America's most treacherous and beloved frontiers ended in a rescue. Holly Courtier, a 38-year-old California mom, was found on October 18th in Zion National Park, visibly famished, pounds lighter, and dehydrated. She had a concussion, kidney failure, and foot injuries due to the cold, according to her family. What was supposed to be a brief spiritual pilgrimage turned instead into a fight for her life. Upon her discovery, she left the park with her family and sought medical care. And then the online frenzy began. What started as a widespread plea for tips and support to find Cordier became an international sensation filled with vitriol and conspiracy theories about her disappearance. We'll get into that in a second. So I just want to go on to just showing you what happened in these 12 days as reported by some outlets here.
Tonight, the mother rescued inside Zion National Park after missing for nearly 2 weeks. Authorities say another park goer helped track her down. Here's ABC's Janae Norman.
Tonight, a woman missing for 12 days in Zion National Park found alive and reunited with her family. 38-year-old Holly Suzanne Courtier disappeared October 6th after taking a shuttle bus into the park. Courtier leaving her phone behind, planning to go hiking on a solo trip through a canyon, but authorities say she never returned to be picked up. Her family reporting her missing 2 days later.
It is getting down to the final few days of survival without food.
The search intensifying in the park, known for its massive cliffs and wilderness and maze of deep sandstone canyons. Days passing with no signs of Holly until today. A park visitor telling rangers they'd seen Courtier within the park. Search and rescue crews finally tracking her down. And Tom, Courtier's family saying in a statement tonight that finding her, quote, wouldn't have been possible without the network of people who came together. Tom.
Okay, great. They found her. Janae, thank you.
So, I mean, just surface level, after a week of going into the woods like that, regardless, I mean, I don't know how much food she had on her. That has not been disclosed yet. If she's dehydrated, not much water. She tried to get herself near the closest water source, but you can't drink that water. That water is full of bacteria and other things that will kill you. So they say she's an experienced hiker, but an experienced hiker went into the woods, got lost, didn't have enough supplies, and didn't tell anybody about where she was going to be. Those aren't things an experienced hiker does. So they say she went out with a very experienced hiker to look for her sister on the day she disappeared, but after hanging on the edge of a cliff and hiking in extreme conditions, she thought, how could she live through this? It wasn't until 2 days ago I actually said I'm starting to lose hope, she said. They had a lot of cadaver dogs out, and I knew that they were looking for was a body, not a person. It was the first time I actually started losing hope, and I went with up. This is ABC. Read a sentence. And I went with so much help knowing that we needed to find her. When search crews finally found Courtier, she had lost so much weight and had bruises all over her body, but now Courtier Oliver says she is recovering with help of her family. I know if anyone could do it, it was going to be her, Courtier Oliver added. She's such a fighter. Okay. So we got a fighter on our hands.
Incredibly good news about the mom we've told you about who went missing in Zion National Park nearly 2 weeks ago. She's been found. Stephen Fabian with details on what is truly a happy ending.
She's alive. That's the extraordinary news today after a mom missing for nearly 2 weeks in a national park was found by searchers.
Very happy ending to that story that could have so gone the other way.
38-year-old
All right, enough of the happy endings.
Holly Courtier disappeared after going on what was supposed to be a one-day hike in Zion National Park in Utah.
Man, this is
renowned
treacherous.
for its spectacular but slender canyons. You can see in this YouTube video how challenging the trails can be. Her sister Jillian.
Fuck that. That is not for me. Like, I went to the bluffs around here with a chick, a date a couple of years ago, and it was fun, but it was nothing like this. Like, this looks pretty intense.
And spoke to GMA.
She hasn't ate since then at all. She's had very little water, we found out.
Holly's family worked tirelessly to locate the missing woman with park rangers and volunteers. This is her daughter,
beautiful.
Kaylee Chambers, searching on one of the trails in the park.
There've been locals and people that don't even know me reaching out to me and saying we're heading out to Zion to go start our own search teams.
The big break came after rangers received a credible tip from a park visitor that Holly had been seen alive.
This is another weird aspect to this story. Someone knows, they've seen the flyers, they've seen the pictures, and they see her in the park, yet they don't approach her, yet they don't say there's people worried about you. You're missing. You're disoriented. Can we help you? We can walk you back to civilization. They leave and then go call somebody to say that they saw her somewhere. I mean, that's just... I can't understand that part to the story. There's a lot of weird things to this story, but I'm saving the best for last. The twist at the end, which some people already know, but we'll save it for the end.
When authorities found her, she was covered with bruises. She was hospitalized and reunited with her family. Holly's family says in a statement, "We are overjoyed that she was found safely. We would like to thank the Rangers and search teams who relentlessly looked for her day and night and never gave up hope."
Well, we always have to, thank volunteer rescue save teams. And like David Pilati says, this is where you get a lot of your information is from people that they'll give you the best information, because in some of these missing person cases, not in this specifically, but in ones where there's weird circumstances, disappearances where they're never found, cadaver dogs can't get a scent, missing 411 cases, you'll see FBI agents show up, which they should never show up in that scenario. You'll have Army, you'll have other kind of law enforcement there taking over. In this, it just seemed like a normal search and rescue, and all of a sudden she's found in 12 days. Let me see if there's any more articles that I want to pull up. So I'll just go through a little bit of what happened from her family's, kind of from her family's 12 days and what they went through. And then we'll get into what's going on. So, behind the scenes, Howie reported on Holly Courtier and answers to your questions. Since October 9th, many of my work days and free nights have been consumed by the story of Holly Courtier, the 38-year-old California mom who went missing in Zion National Park 2 days before. What was originally a quick assignment to confirm the information from a press release turned into something very different. A project requiring hours of reporting, thousands of words, and dozens of interesting emails. Part of my job as a journalist is to interact with the public and answer readers' questions. I am, in the truest form, a public servant first and foremost. Okay, yeah, you're great. However, sometimes a story like this comes across my desk, and I know what happens next. The onslaught of social media comments and emails from readers. While not inherently bad, this also guarantees I get emails questioning my integrity, calling me a threat to democracy, what's wrong with our country today, why people don't trust journalists, and various other personal attacks. But I do let good questions go through. They show me where I wasn't clear enough or where I left something out. Our online metrics say that more than 500,000 people since Tuesday have read it, the most recent story. So this was a national story. This is something that really took over the internet. It was in mainstream media everywhere. There was interviews with the daughter. She was found alive. And everybody's happy. 12 days, found alive. She's in a hospital. She's getting her fluids. And the story of it, that she gets out, she gets missing, she gets found after 12 days on a solo spiritual pilgrimage, but had a breakdown, has since checked herself into a mental health clinic. Holly Courtier, 38, was allegedly found. She was found. I hate when they use allegedly. She was found. Like, she's not dead. She was found. On October 18th, disheveled, pounds lighter, with a concussion, kidney failure, and dehydrated. She had entered the park 12 days earlier. What Courtier had intended to be a solo spiritual pilgrimage quickly turned into a fight for her life, says her sister. Just under 2 weeks earlier, she had left her Los Angeles home in the middle of the night and departed for Utah, which is very odd. Experienced hiker would never not tell anybody where they're going, exact location, where to find them in case anything happens. Strong said Courtier was definitely having a mental breakdown and intended to go completely off the grid to disconnect from everything. She wanted to be alone. So then you start thinking maybe suicide, maybe just going off the grid. This wasn't a one-day trip. The 38-year-old since has checked herself into a mental wellness center in California to be treated for mental illness, where she remains. But local Utah sheriffs have cast doubt over Courtier's story, saying some parts just don't add up and there are discrepancies to it. So we are going to get to those in a second. Let me just give you a little more background. They're questioning the story, guys. Questioning the story. I love when we start questioning stories. We might have a Millie Weaver situation. Rescue hiker hit her head and became disoriented. So her story is she hit her head on a tree, became disoriented, tried to get to a water source, thinking that was the best place where she would be found. Shout out to MF, motherfucker. I'm not going to call you by your real name. Happy Halloween. Finally, it's spooky time again. I dig this stuff. Keep up the good work. Please make it out for the midnight show. This is just a test run just to make sure the OBS and everything else was working correctly, and the chat was orange, and the picture came in right. But the Halloween special is going to be way more in-depth and way more just... This is just a fun little missing person story with a nice little twist at the end, and I figured, fuck it. I did a stream earlier for an hour. We had fun. I'd come on for an hour now, have a little fun, take a break, really just prep up the rest of the show, just make sure everything's perfect for it, and then come on later. So thank you for that $10 donation. Every dollar helps. And we got 83 people here. That's not bad for not streaming here in a long-ass time. So, again, she was rescued, blah, blah, blah. We know all that. Park visitors located Courtier on Sunday in the national park in the southwestern Utah and alerted park officials. Coffin White said the National Park Service dispatched a rescue team after park rangers received a credible tip on her whereabouts, it said. She's in good spirits and very thankful for everyone who searched for her, especially the people who found her today and the rangers that rescued her. Chambers saw her mom late Monday morning as she is getting her strength back and hydrating. She is still weak, but she is recovering. Rescued hiker Courtier was dehydrated, hurt, and praying to be found in Zion National Park, her sister says. Let's see if this is that's the daughter. She's way too hotter and younger.
A mama went missing for nearly 2 weeks in Zion National Park in Utah. She has been rescued. Holly Courtier's sister says Holly ran out of food and water.
She hasn't ate since then at all. She's had very little water, we found out. But the moment I talked to her on the phone, she said, "I love you so much." And that was her signature thing to say to people that she loved. And I said, "I'm so glad you're coming."
So it is an emotional story. For anybody that knows anybody that goes missing, or if you've ever dealt with this, it's not just the missing person, it's the family, it's the community. It affects so many people, and it is very shocking to a lot of people. And I only cover the serious missing 411 cases because I don't want to make light of it. But the doctor was shocked she was so dehydrated. Her potassium levels were extremely low. Courtier's sister told CNN her levels of kidney function were very bad. She was starting to show signs of kidney shutdown. So how much food did she bring with her? What was the plan if you were going to go off grid? You didn't tell anybody, then you hit your head, then you're rescued. A lot of things are adding up for a lot of people. And those a lot of people start coming from law enforcement themselves. So let me pull these up really quick. You know, she was covered in bruises, disoriented. Just got an Instagram message from my V Valentine. Got the Skype, so that is all set. Everything's working out well this week. I can't wait for this Halloween special tonight. So we'll start with this. Questions remain about Woodland Hills woman found alive after going missing in Zion National Park. After going 12 days and the miracle finding, Cordier was discovered on Sunday by rangers after a report from a park visitor. I think God got her through this, Cordier's sister Jamie Strong said. This lack of gear and preparation for an expedition to the park has led one local search and rescue team member to question how the 38-year-old former nanny who lost her job on the outset of COVID survived the ordeal. A vigorous search for Cordier began after she failed to show up for a scheduled shuttle departure on October 6th. Cordier, who had been dropped off for a hike earlier that day, was reported missing on October 8th. Strong and other family members have been saying in interviews since Cordier's rescue that she was able to survive by staying near Virgin River, which is a heavily tracked part of the park, and emerged emaciated. Her daughter also told CNN that she had hit her head and become disoriented. Officials with Zion National Park said that once she was found, she was in good enough condition to be reunited with her family. So things aren't adding up. Was she that bad or was she not? This doesn't make sense. Utah's Washington County Sheriff Search and Rescue Sergeant Daryl Cashin told local media. The Zion team apparently talked to her and she felt okay to be released to the family. Cashin, who the Times was unable to reach, told the local media outlets that there was a series of unanswered questions that needed to be answered because the family's accounting didn't add up. A spokeswoman for the park didn't respond to requests for comment. If she's by the Virgin River, she's down in the valley, not in the back country, up in the plateaus and the peaks. She's in the main part of the canyon, which always has thousands of people walking up and down the trails. I'm sure people walked by yelling for her. She had also done a pre-hike fast and left her phone behind. Strong said in the NBC interview some family members said she drank the river water, which is known to be full of deadly toxins. This has been debunked. She said she just merely wet her lips because she was so dehydrated she couldn't open her mouth. Again, we don't know if that's true. I don't think that her mental state was good when she went into the park. I really think she had a mental breakdown and was not in the right state of mind when she decided to take this journey. So she was seeking total disconnect from everything. Cordier lost her job. She bought a converted van. I mean, literally van down by the river. Her younger sister told the Times that Cordier is a free spirit who's prone to spontaneously and regularly fasted. After having dinner together a few days before, Cordier left for Zion without telling anybody. Here her is in a stupid meditating pose like these Californians do. She was definitely having a mental breakdown, family said. But let's get into what they're saying about the investigation, because this is where it gets very interesting. Like I said, I won't keep you here for long because this is just a fun little stream to work all the kinks out. And I'm going to also explain some things about Zion National Park, safety, and a lot of stuff regarding that. You can't just you can't just go to the park and say you're going for one day and then stay for 12 days. You have to have permits if you're going to be camping or be in specific places. Like, there's a lot of stuff behind that. So she went around all that and decided she was going to do what she was going to do. So this just straight up. Sheriff deputies investigate whether Los Angeles mother 38 staged 12-day appearance in Zion National Park to raise $12,000 on GoFundMe. I told you there was a Millie Weaver angle to all of this, and there might be a GoFundMe angle that just no one was thinking about. Oh, we got lost for a couple days. We need to set up a GoFundMe. Easy $12K. Maybe she brought enough food with her. She stayed by the water. She knew where she was. Maybe some other people helped her. Maybe she had food. Maybe she was good. There was no bruises to the head. There was no anything that she was talking about. There was no twisted ankles. Even the cold nights didn't seem to be a problem. So what's really going on here? Washington County Sheriff's Office is investigating the case of Holly Courtier, the 38-year-old mother from Los Angeles that went missing. Now, she was located. Now, her sister immediately launched a GoFundMe page, which raised some $12,000. Investigators are looking into whether Courtier's disappearance was staged. A Jussie Smollett, Millie Weaver. So far, sheriffs say they have, that they have some evidence, but it's not clear to support the allegation. It's just something they're looking into, but they have raised doubts about Courtier's claims. Family said she had no food, hit her head, and survived on water in the park, but investigators said Courtier was able to walk off with minimal assistance. Courtier has checked herself into a mental health clinic for treatment, her sister said. So, if she was so disoriented, then why did she say, I'm fine to go live with my family, it's all good? Now, the crowdfunding effort launched by Courtier raised $12,000 before it was deactivated. Jamie Strong, Courtier's sister, said the money raised on GoFundMe will be used to reimburse hotel and car rental expenses incurred by family and friends who joined in the search. Some on her medical care, even if she has insurance. That doesn't sound right. That just sounds like an easy $12,000. But authorities in Utah decided to launch the investigation after determining that Courtier's story contained too many discrepancies and questions that do not add up. The sheriff's office also added it has received numerous tips that indicated the incident was possibly conceived and carried out as part of a plan to fraudulently generate money to a GoFundMe account for Courtier's recovery. So it wasn't just going to be about the search and rescue. There was going to be a whole recovery operation after where they could make more money. It's like Millie Weaver when she wants $20,000, then all of a sudden it's $40,000, then it's $60,000. You know how these things work. Despite the thorough investigation conducted by the National Park Service, U.S. State Code does not grant them authority to investigate violation of Utah's law. That's why the Sheriff's Office has the obligation to the public to investigate the criminal allegations which were presented, which are serious allegations. That's theft, that's misleading people, that's fraud. I've said this with Vox Day before, I've said this with Millie Weaver, I've said this with Laura Loomer, I've said this with Cassandra Fairbanks. You can't make up stories and have people just give you money. Now, I don't care that they give them the money, but it's the lying part that really pisses me off, and I think it's fraud. So, police investigating Holly Courtier, the Zion hiker who was missing for 12 days. Do I need it? Do I need the music? No, I don't need the music. Thank you. Washington Sheriff's Office is investigating the California woman. They do not believe her story. The discrepancies are too much. Numerous tips have been received indicating the incident was possibly conceived. This was pre-plotted, and this was going to be something to make way more than $12,000. But too many questions were asked, and they suspended Cortez' account at $12,000 before donation. Okay, so she raised nearly $12,000 before donations were suspended by Cortier's sister, the page organizer. So things were getting hot, and she wanted to get out of it because that's I think that's felony level theft at that point. So she wanted to get out of that hot water. Now, just a couple things about this. The sister came out and says Zion hiker Holly and Cortier's sister hits back at Utah Sergeant over hoax suggestions. So we'll give their side. The sister of missing hiker Holly Courtier has hit back at criticisms at her sibling's story about disappearing for 12 days, saying suggestions that her survival tale was a hoax are very blown out of proportion. There are not holes in the story, there's no discrepancies, it just got blown very out of proportion, her sister Strong told the Spectrum. Search crews canvassed the park for 38-year-old Courtier after she went for a hike. We know all of that. She definitely was having a mental breakdown. They keep bringing that up. Mental breakdown. The only problem is people saw her along this route. There's no way they did it. It's one of the most traveled parts of that whole route. So there's no way people didn't see her, and that's how she was found. So it just doesn't make much sense. Now, I'm going to let you guys get out of here really quick, but let me just explain a couple things to you. And this will end with a video about the fundraiser, the actual GoFundMe page, and a little video. So, safety. You go into one of these places, lightning, flash floods, personal responsibility. You need to have your own gear. She didn't have anything as far as first aid in her pack. Steep clips, stay on the trail, stay back from cliff edges, observe posted warnings. Please watch children. Make sure you have water, heat stroke, heat exhaustion. There's just so many different factors of what you need to make sure. Even they say have a firearm on you. Canyon Junction Bridge, animal transmitted diseases, rock falls. There's so many pitfalls to this place. It's very dangerous. To go into it alone is the perfect story to lead someone to believe that you could get lost and start a GoFundMe. Another thing, you need permits and reservations if you're going to be staying anything over a day in that park, which she did not do. So that leads to the story of, I just got lost. So Courtier's rescue prompts concerns after GoFundMe raises almost $12,000. Family outlines fund allocation, which they say is just going to go to, missing posters and travel, which, $500, $1,000. So you made away with pretty good amount of money there. I think you did pretty good. And again, the Washington County Sheriff is criminally investigating the case inside Zion National Park. That's the latest we have from it.
Let's briefly discuss the case of Holly Courtier and her $12,010 GoFundMe that has been shut down. The hiker lost 15 pounds while fasting, and her story is controversial. We previously talked about how Holly was missing for 12 days. We asked ourselves, everyone's asking, what really happened to Holly in Zion National Park. Her family claims she would need medical care in the days moving forward. However, according to this Yahoo report, a sheriff's sergeant is questioning Holly's story, and he's claiming there's no way she could have survived for 2 weeks off of river water. Now, we know Holly was found recently in Zion National Park in Utah. Almost 2 weeks after she disappeared, it was supposed to be just a short day hike. But Sergeant Daryl Cashin, He helped in the search and rescue efforts, and he's saying he has questions about her story and pointing out discrepancies like a lot of people are. Courtier's daughter told CNN that Holly hit her head early in the hike and she was so dehydrated she couldn't open her mouth. But Cashin is saying he doubts this story because park officials said that Holly was able to leave the park largely unassisted. You know, she didn't need an ambulance. She didn't need to be life flighted out of there. He's also wondering how she was able to survive alone nearly 2 weeks without food and with little water. So Holly is a 38-year-old woman from California. She was supposed to just go on this day hike, and she was found in a thickly vegetated area near the Virgin River. Now this part is weird. Cashin told ABC4 that Holly left California in the middle of the night without telling her family where she was going. And then there's discrepancies about the water source. Now, Holly's daughter, Kaylee Chambers, told CNN that her mom hit her head. You know,
So none of us are believing this hitting the head. He said, you were saying she didn't have a permit as if she needed one, that's all. You were saying she didn't have a permit. Oh, I get what you're saying. You shouldn't need to have a permit in a free country. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But I think for safety reasons in these places, just to kind of like keep an eye on people, and I don't want to go full missing 411, but the amount of people that go missing in these national parks, I think since David Paulides put out all his work, they're really trying to put an effort in, okay, well, at least we have this person's name, and when they entered the park, and they're saying that they're staying for 8 hours. They're saying they're staying for 3 days. And at the end of that 3 days, if they're not where they're supposed to be, they can ring the alarm and the search can start. And I think that's an actual good move. I still think it gives you the freedom to do what you want to do, but it also gives you a security. But I do understand what you're saying. It's like you need to be told how many days you can. They're not saying you can stay there for fucking 30 days if you want to. You can stay there 30 days if you want to. I think it's just a security measure. And in this case, it's just a very odd case around a $12,000, again, GoFundMe that was taken down as soon as questions started coming in. And I think they really, really, really wanted to push this into a recovery one with the mental health aspect. I hope you guys found this story just kind of as a fun missing person story. Really, this was just something that I had in the barrel that I wanted to talk to you guys about. It was exactly an hour, exactly what I wanted to do. Just a strange, fun story. And it helped me work the kinks out of the old OBS, Spooky Sunday overlay. So I'm going to work on a couple things to make it look a little better, because I don't like how... Let me see something really quick. Alright, so that looks a little better, right? Like if I don't have that picture behind me, because it looks a little smoother. I don't think the donation thing needs to be that big. I mean, looks like I'm begging for a little too much money there. But I'm sure people will say that to me anyways. Do everything for free, Dave. I mean, why should you research and make any money if somebody just wants to automatically tip you because they like you? You don't deserve to make any money. Fate of Kings on this great thumbnail that you guys will see tonight. As soon as this stream is over, I'm going to set up the midnight stream. You guys will see it. Set the reminder. Share it out. Let's get as many people here as we can. But as long as we have our peeps, that's all I want. I mean, I think 100 people made it out to this one, and this was just out of the blue. So I think we could get 200 people on this channel tonight, which, I mean, that'd be pretty good for a channel that we haven't done anything in like 5 months. So thanks for coming by, guys. It is 8 o'clock. We got 4 hours until the next show. We did an hour earlier. If you guys missed this stream that I did earlier, let me show you this. I thought it was a really fun stream we did on Davy Crocco 2 earlier. I had a blast on this thing. Oh, and I got some new Halloween music to come. But it was called Not a Good Time, or Not Long Time, a Good Time. It's already got 2,000 views. It was just a fun time. There were some audience interactions that were funny. There was some clown makeup. We had a really good time. So if you need something to watch in between, I would suggest watching that. If you want to support the show, you can do so through PayPal or Streamlabs. But if you really want to, wait till tonight. Like, if anybody wants to donate, wait till the Halloween special and let's just have a really good time. Don't worry about donating if anybody can't afford it. Let's just have a fun time and let's share it out. Let's like the stream and let's get it out to as many people as we can. And as always, I will see you very shortly in 4 hours at the midnight hour to the witching hour on All Hallows Eve. Go hand out some candy, be with your family, and then come back to Dr. Crocco. Have a good night, guys. I will see you in 4 hours.